In lesson 14, we're going to continue converting measurements, but now we're going to move from converting smaller units of measure into bigger units of measure. As you see, we're going to be working with 14 days equals how many weeks, and we're moving from that smaller unit of days and asking us to put it in a bigger unit of weeks. The steps are basically the same as converting from bigger units to smaller units, but there's just some slight changes. The first step is still to identify those factor labels, and we already talked about it. We're moving from days into weeks. Step 2 is we still want to rewrite the equation using the given value in expanded form. Our given value is 14 days, so we're going to start with that. And in expanded form, basically, we're going to pull out the numbers. The number I have here is 14. Whenever two numbers are together like this, or two things, we can kind of imply that that means multiplication. So I'm going to put my multiplication sign. And then my conversion factor is going to be in parentheses. And here I'm doing days. And since I've already pulled out my 14 days, we know that this unit of days is just going to be 1. Now, in step 3, we want to rename or convert the conversion factor into the desired label. And our conversion factor is that factor that is in the parentheses. So my 14 stays the same. And I'm still multiplying, so we keep that. But here is where my conversion factor is going to change. And I want to put that in the desired label from above, and we're going into weeks. So I want to make sure that I label my new conversion factor with the appropriate label. And now here is where the new or challenging part comes in, when we want to change days into weeks, when we're moving from that bigger unit value to the smaller unit value. Or wait, sorry, the smaller unit value to a bigger unit value. You want to think of your conversion factor now in terms of a fraction or a decimal. Basically, blank of blank will be your conversion factor. And a lot of the times, a tape diagram as a visual will help us in identifying our fraction or our decimal. So I know that I'm converting into weeks, so I'm going to draw my tape diagram, and this whole thing is going to be symbolizing a week, which I'm going to signify here with the W. And I know that in a week that there are 7 days, so I'm going to break my week up into 7 sections to signify days. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to say, I know that for days it is just one of these. I'm looking up here because I wanted 1 day. So I can say that 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1 out of 7 is 1 day. So I would say 1 out of 7 weeks is equal to 1 day. So that's my conversion factor here. And step 4 remains the same to solve. When you are multiplying fractions, as we are here, it's kind of a tricky thing that we haven't really studied, but I'm going to show you just a quick snippet. When you think about 14, that's like thinking about 14 over 1 and multiplying that by 1 over 7. And when we multiply across here. So we have 14 times 1 equals 14 on the top in our numerator. And then we have 1 times 7 for our denominator, or under. And now, to change this fraction into a whole number, we kind of want to ask ourselves, how many 7s are there in 14. This line is kind of like a division sign. So basically I know that there are 2 7s in 14. So 14 divided by 7 is kind of what we can think of that as. Equals 2. So I can come here to my answer. 14 days equals 2 weeks. All right, let's try that with another problem. We're going to use the problem 24 feet equals blank yards. Step 1 is identify the factor labels. We have feet and we want to turn it into yards. Next, we want to rewrite our equation using the given value in expanded form, and for this problem our given value is 24 feet. So to write it in expanded form, my number here 24 comes out front, and we're just drawing this out. We're rewriting it in a different way. And then when we have two things together here, that means multiplication. And then I want to make sure that because I'm changing feet into yards, that I show that this is my conversion factor with parentheses. So I would write feet here, and because I already pulled out that 24, I know that I'm just dealing in 1. And since we don't say 1 feet, I might want to change that to be grammatically correct by saying 1 foot. And just remembering that feet and foot are meaning the same thing, just singular and plural. Now step 3 is to rename or convert the conversion factor. And our conversion factor for this problem is 1 foot, so we're going to be renaming that into yards, which is our desired measurement. So we keep the 24 the same, and our multiplication here stays the same. Our conversion factor I'm going to keep in that parentheses just to say here's my conversion factor, and I am changing to yards. So I'm going to put my label in here. And now here comes the hard, or kind of the different part. We want to convert this yards, this feet, into yards. And because we're going from something smaller into something bigger, we might want to think about it as a fraction or a decimal. And just to show, I'm going to use a tape diagram as a visual. So I'm going to draw my tape diagram. And knowing that this tape diagram is going to signify the whole thing is going to be yards. And I'm just going to write a Y for yards. And I know by looking at my conversion sheet that there are 3 feet in a yard. And I have 1 foot up here. So I'm going to color in 1 foot. And I know that that's 1 foot. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay, now how many feet are in this yard? And I have 1 of 3 feet colored in. So my fraction here is 1 foot is equal to 1/3, or 1/3 yards. All right, and now my 4th step is to solve. And as we did here with our fraction solving, 24 is kind of like just saying 24 over 1, and we're multiplying that by 1/3 from here. And basically, because we're multiplying by 1, we just kind of go across. 24 times 1 is 24 as our numerator on top. And then 1 times 3 for our denominator is 3. And remember, this line here just means, it signifies a division problem. So what we're saying is 24 divided by 3, or how many groups of 3 can we put into 24? And we know that that answer is 8. So 24 divided by 3 is 8. So 24 feet is equal to 8 yards. And that is how we convert measurements, moving from a smaller number into a bigger number, or bigger unit size.